It's the last Friday before I go back to school and start teaching. I was in my room all week. I got to meet a bunch of my kids on Wednesday and Thursday. Not all of them. I'm teaching a lot of upperclassmen, so they may have stopped by and said hey, but they didn't really come by. They'll make it to class, whatever. I'm trying to decide if I want to pull the card today or not. I think it's time though. You know what I don't usually do? I don't usually pick the very first card. And I think I'm going to do that today. I think I'm going to pick the very first card. Put these back. And this card says, read a book that is less than 250 pages. God bless you for that, knowing that I have a time crunch and that I have school coming up, Gina. That's going to be a good one. And 250 is actually still a lot. Let me see what I've got, because I've got plenty that it's still in here. This would have been a really good one to have for the readathon I did kind of in August, trying to read as much as I could. But I think I still have a couple of like smaller books that I can use for this one. If nothing else, I know I have the Shivers collection. I have like the last one to read for that, and I could technically read that one. But I'd rather it be a book that I own and hear, because I've already been playing kind of fast and loose with that this year. So let me get back to you when I find a book that's 250 pages or less for September. We have a problem. I have 5 pretty good options. There were a couple books that I really wanted to fit this challenge because they're like anticipated reads, or I know I'm going to like them, or like whatever reason. I just got like 2 books that are this close. They're like 20 pages over the limit. And 250 is so specific. But all 5 of these books meet the qualifications. They're 250 or less. And of course, that's not including like acknowledgments or any kind of indexes or stuff in the back. All of these are wildly different. Some of them are relatively new. Some of them are very old books. You can tell by Mr. Deckled Edges here. They've got some age to it. I would be fine with any of these. I'm thinking about making a poll on Instagram. Not that my Instagram gets a lot of traction, but this would be kind of a funny way to get Gina involved in picking the book she's making me read twice. So I think I may come up with like an emoji thing for all 5 of these books and then put them up on Instagram, see who votes, see what wins, and read that one. And then I'll probably just keep the other ones out and read them occasionally this month because, you know, school's starting back. Reading stuff is not going to be the most important thing going on, or at least reading stuff for fun. I'm going to be reading a lot for school, but I think that's what I'm going to do. I'll let you know when I have the post made and I pick what emojis go with which. I'm going to have to do a little bit of research for some of these and figure out how I want to describe them. And then the next time you see me, I should have the results and should know which of these 5 books I'm going to be reading, and I will reveal the one I'm reading as well as the ones that I'm not reading. Though you could always challenge yourself to look at the sides here and see if you can figure out what the books are just by looking at those. But yeah, I'm going to do that. So again, next time you see me, we'll know what I'm reading. In a development that shocks nobody. Nobody voted on the poll. That's fine. I was prepared to have a backup. I have made a generator with all of the titles, all 5 of them, and I've done all 5 times just to make it interesting. And I'm just going to randomly spin and see which one it picks. So you guys get to come along with that. So let's see. All right. All right, Fire Exit it is. Yay. This is Fire Exit. I'll read you the synopsis. From the porch of his home, Charles Lambsway has watched as life he might have had unfold across the river on Maine's Penobscot Reservation.
He caught brief moments of his neighbor Elizabeth's life from the day she came home from the hospital to her early 20s, but there's something deeper and more dangerous than the river that divides him from her and the rest of the tribal community. It's the secret that Elizabeth is his daughter, a secret Charles is no longer willing to keep. Now it's been weeks since he's seen Elizabeth, and Charles is worried as he attempts to hold on to and care for what he can, his home and his property, his alcoholic and big-hearted friend Bobby, and his mother Louise, who is slipping deeper into dementia. He becomes increasingly haunted by his past. Forced to confront a lost childhood on the reservation, a love affair cut short, and the death of his beloved stepfather Frederick, Charles contends with the questions he's long been afraid to ask. Is his secret about Elizabeth his to share, and would his daughter want to know the truth, even if it could cost her everything she's ever known? So, kind of hard-hitting literary fic. We'll try it out. We'll see. I'll update you when I'm probably about halfway through. I probably won't start it till this weekend because I am doing a lot of homework for grad school, and this is technically today, as you're seeing this, the second day of school has finished, and oh boy, has it been a crazy first 2 days. So I'll probably finish it this weekend, or not finish it, but I'll start it this weekend because it's a long weekend. We've got Monday off. And we'll go from there.
I didn't expect to be over halfway through with this book on the second day of September, but I also didn't expect to spend nearly 2 hours at the dentist today. So that's what happened. So let me tell you about this book. There's not like a plot in a traditional sense. This is very much a literary fiction novel, whose main like dilemma, problem, motivating force is this guy Charles wanting to tell his daughter that she's his daughter. He had a girlfriend. The way I don't know how old they were. I think they were old enough that they were living together. But he had this girlfriend, Mary, who was a member of the tribe, and he was not. He's a white dude. And she's like, I want my child to be able to grow up with all of the rights that she deserves. So I'm going to get with this dude who's also a member of the tribe, and we're just going to say she's our kid. And so like that is definitely a choice. And he even says that he's like, I don't want to deny her that kind of stuff, but I feel like she's not getting a full sense of who she is. Well, at the same time, Charles is taking care of his mother, who is, she's battled depression her whole life, but she's kind of got like dementia, sundowners kind of stuff going on now. If you've ever had anybody in your life that dealt with that stuff, you know it is a lot. I don't know that he's dealing with it the best way he can, but I think he's dealing with it the only way he can. He also has a friend that's an alcoholic who has to pretend to be him sometimes because his mom doesn't think he's him. She thinks he's her husband who passed away already. And sort of the middle of the novel is him realizing something about Elizabeth, and her health, that like if she had known who he was, they probably could have gotten the help they needed earlier because it runs in his family, not necessarily Mary's family. There's just been a big storm. His mom was sick, and that's kind of where I've left it. He has a friend who is a member of the tribe who is gay, and we're getting kind of glimpses into, hey, Tim, we're getting glimpses into how his life was kind of like. I don't think I'm going to finish it today. I think I'm going to finish a chapter, and then I'll feel bad if Tim, are you okay? You can tell I haven't been home. I think I'm going to finish the chapter I'm on because I'm like, almost done with that chapter, and then I think I'm gonna put it away for now. I'll feel bad if I finish this in 2 days. Not that there's like a problem with that, but like I'll feel bad if I finish it within 2 days. And I do have homework I can do because I have to remember it's Tuesday, not Monday, so I need to get some homework done. This is not bad, but I think that the audience is going to be what the audience is, right? Like if you're not a literary fiction person, this is not going to be for you. Okay, it is for me because it's very short. I don't like literary fiction that dwells on itself. Get there. It also feels very, not like Beloved levels of a fragmented narrative, but you can see the thought process of like this thing reminds me of this thing, and then this reminded me of that thing. And so it's not like it's linear in the sense that, again, there is a through line of I want to tell my daughter, and people telling him don't fucking do that. But he remembers stuff from his childhood and being a teenager, and then a couple weeks ago, and then he mentions something that's going to happen, and they tell you about it later. Like he's kind of like at the end revealing it to us, but it's that person who can't tell a story in a linear sense. So again, I think that works for how many pages this is. If it was 100 pages more, this would probably be obnoxious to read. But since it is the like tight length that it is, it works for what it is. I could see this being used in like a college class about indigenous stories, even though like the main character himself isn't. The big drama deals with, identity within a indigenous sphere. Do you want attention? You're purring like you want attention. Are you the most handsome? Are you? We'll let the audience decide. Is this the most handsome? You're so silly. All right, I'm going to go eat because I haven't eaten today. Well, here we are on September 6th at 6 o'clock, if you can hear the church bells in the background. And I have finished this book. It's been a week into September and I finished this book, which, to be fair, this challenge was for something less than 250 pages. This was never going to be one that took me the whole month. So let's just get that out there. It's okay. It ends very abruptly given the setup of everything. Like it just, I don't know. I honestly, this might be one of those few books that could have used like 50 more pages to really hone in on its themes a little bit of like stories and family and all that. I think it handled the ending very sensitively and it was optimistic without being like, it was still realistic. It was very grounded in like what would happen if you and I'm born in 92. The girl in this book was born in 91. If you were told that you were adopted by your dad and your real dad lives across the street. Different day, same review. Okay, so I don't even know what I said yesterday. I got interrupted because Stephen came home and there's Nemo barking again. He has a sixth sense for when I'm recording. Anyway, if I was like 33 years old and someone told me, hey, your real dad is not actually your dad, it's this random white guy, and I thought that my identity was like daughter of two indigenous folks and member of a tribe, I would probably make some choices as well. She makes some choices. So I think ultimately this book is like the people who are gonna like it, and the people who don't. It is like literary fiction. So that has its fans. But if you're like, I want something to happen, maybe don't. The title makes sense when you actually read the title. And I do like the focus on like stories and like you can't really be a complete person if you don't know your entire history. And so it's kind of interesting because our main character was raised basically in the tribe because his stepfather who raised him from like a toddler was a member. He never was able to be a part of it. He was always an outsider as a white kid, but like he knows the songs, he knows the chants, he knows the routines, he knows the people. And it's like you can't really fully be part of your own community because you don't have that aspect. I guess I understand the story part. I think again, it's gonna have its fans and it probably has its people who are like, nothing happened. So that was September's book. And it's only, how am I watch on? It's only September 7th. I'm not pulling the October one today. I'll probably wait until the last week of September. I'm not going to wait till October because, like, again, the last 4 months is such a rush to get this part of the video challenge done. And it's also such a crazy time of year. But let me tell you, being medicated, not as worried about a lot of it. But anyway, I'll probably pull on the very last week of September to go ahead and get October's book underway, and then we'll just see where we go from there. I think it's been a pretty good challenge so far. I've found some really good books that I like, and none of them have been terrible. So like a win is a win, I guess. Required Tim visit. Look at you. You're so handsome. Yeah, you're so handsome. All right, let me go read something not for this challenge, I guess. Gina, it has been a day. I'm tired. It's like 7 o'clock. I've been running around driving all day. I've got like 10,000 steps, or just shy of 10,000 steps. We had a planning day yesterday, but on 4-day weeks, they still managed to pack like 4 days of chaos into it. So I'm looking forward to the next few weeks. We're going to take a little trip for our anniversary next weekend. 10 years. But I figured it's the 23rd. Today was supposed to be the rapture. So I might as well pull the card for October. So I can go ahead and pick it, because I'll probably bring that book on the trip with us. I'm not very entertaining right now. I'm so sorry. I almost fell asleep on the couch a second ago. I probably will go to sleep pretty early tonight. I'm just very tired. I'm just tired from thinking about the things that I have to do. And not even that I have that much to do. I'm ahead in grad school stuff. Becca had her baby this weekend. She's very cute. And I'm very happy for her, because I know she was ready to be done with a baby. And I'm happy she's a Virgo and not a Libra. And this is not negative toward Libras. Everybody thinks it's because I don't like Libras. It's just because they're both Aquarius. We can't have all air signs in that family. The next thing you know, they'll be living on the moon. So here's our cards. I don't know why I spaced them out. I know which one I'm going after. I know you can't really tell because they're all white, but there's one that's like right here that's like the tip is showing up top. So I'm going to do that one. I think it's one. Is it two? It's two. Okay, I'm going to do the top one of those two. Oh my God, why is this an ordeal? Should I not do that one? But now I have to. Okay, I'm pulling those two out separate, and then I'm going to take the top one. So, bottom one off. I feel like I'm doing a magic trick. Ready? Read a book that's nonfiction. Gina, that's not really the vibe for vacation. But if you want me to, I'll read a nonfiction book. I've got plenty in here that are good options. I think I know which one I want to do. But I could have swore I'd done nonfiction before. What do I know? There's not that many left. This is a very small, like, little stack of cards. But yeah, read a book that's nonfiction for October. I'll let you know what I pick. I'll show you before I go on the trip. I'm shaking things up with the location. This is our back bedroom. I've been cleaning. That's my closet of misery and despair. Do you like? Anyway, it is currently October 2nd. Tomorrow is my anniversary. It's also sugar release day. I'm themed. I've been having a great day. I do not have school tomorrow. I took tomorrow off. We're going to go on vacation. It's going to be really great. But I have not updated you. I picked a book. I picked a book for October, and I've been reading it, and I haven't let you know. And I have finished this much of it. I have this much left. It's Radium Girls. This has been on my TBR for a while. This is a thing in history that I know a little bit about, but I wanted to know more about. And oh boy, that's Ludi. Ludi, what are you doing? Anyway, oh boy, this is so good. That's why I've been able to like inhale it a little bit every night before I go to bed, so I can get my brain out of like watching stuff on my screen. Anyway, it is about the girls who painted dials during like World War One and afterward, and used radium because radium wasn't bad, right? And then they started having like jaw aches and teeth were falling out and like their knees were hurting or their back was hurting, and it was just kind of weird stuff, but they didn't have any reason to believe it was the radium. Oh man, I can't, and I can't express how pissed off you get reading this. Ludi, are you involved? But like, you get pissed off because the company is like, we got to keep the hush hush. Oh, that study showed something. No, it doesn't. Oh, we have to discredit these girls. She had syphilis. That's why her jaw fell out. Her jaw fell out.
that just came out at the dentist's office. Like, I'm here to get a tooth removed, jaw out. This one girl had like a pimple. She like scratched at it. She's like, this is weird. She was dead a week later from sepsis. Her face turned black. They have pictures in the middle part. But I'm at the part now. The girls have been made aware of it, that they're radioactive, basically. And they're like, we just want compensation. We have a disease where we're going to die. They call themselves like the girls who are like already dead or something like that. Like, it's a metal ass name. Let me see if I can find it. They have to go to court like all together. And there's two different places we're actually reading about. It's a place in New York and a place in, no, New Jersey, and a place in is it Illinois? Anyway, so one of them started earlier than the other one, and they have, you know, gotten a little bit more going on than the other folks. Sorry, I'm trying to read and tell you at the same time. But they just have started their legal battle against the company. Like, you should have warned us that radium was bad. You should have put precautions in place that radium was bad. Because, like, the men handling the radium had lead suits and stuff, and they had to use like little plier things to move things. The girls were doing lip pointing. They were literally, they had little like calligraphy brushes. They were wetting them with their mouths, dipping in the radium paint, painting like a letter or a number on the dial, and then doing it again. They were just ingesting tiny bits. They were microdosing fucking radium. And like, again, we know better now, but that still seems really bad. And they couldn't use other stuff because it would waste the material, and material is very expensive. Meanwhile, overseas, they were using like glass brushes and shit, and we're just cheap. It's America, so like capitalism. But anyway, they were called the women who were doomed to die. The case of the 5 women doomed to die, which there was more than 5, mind you. But these were the 5 that like got together and were like, we're gonna set this right. And there was a quote I pulled when they first discovered that the folks were probably radioactive. Even the author makes a note, like, of course, what finally got this to be taken seriously is a man died. Like, a man who worked with radium all the time, he passed away, and they're like, let's look back into this. But none of the women had passed away. Well, unfortunately, one of them did, and they're like, all right, this is a great opportunity. Let's test her out. And they've got this quote where they took her bones. They did a bunch of other tests, but they took her bones, and they covered her bones with X-ray film. Within 60 hours, Sarah's bones caused exposure on the film, white fog-like patches against the ebony black. Just as the girl's glow had once done, as they walked home from through the streets of Orange after work, her bones had made a picture, an eerie shining light against the dark. And from that strange white fog, Martland now understood another critical concept. Sarah was dead, but her bones seemed very much alive, making impressions on photographic plates, carelessly emitting measurable radioactivity. It was all due, of course, to the radium. Sarah's own life may have been cut short, but the radium inside her had a half-life of 1,600 years. It would be shooting out its rays from Sarah's bones for centuries, long after she was gone. Even though it had killed her, it kept on bombarding her body every day, every week, month after month, year after year. It is bombarding her body to this day. Sick! They dig up the Molly Maggia, the first lady who died, the one whose jaw fell out, and they were like, that's so tragic, she died so young. They dug up her body, and it was still radioactive. The coffin was glowing. This shit is, I'm almost on a tangent. This is so good, because this shit really happened in America. And we just, they were trying to call girls liars. Oh, it makes me so mad. Anyway, this is nonfiction, but it's like a narrative nonfiction. So you get to know about the girls' lives. You see that they're spending all this time and money, and their loved ones are so concerned because there's nothing they can do. And then the girls find out there really is nothing they can do. There's not a cure for it. So they're like, well, then we're going to get ours, and we're going to make sure that our medical bills are taken care of, and our families don't have to go into debt taking care of us. So that's kind of where I'm at, about the halfway point. I am going to take this on my trip with me this weekend. I don't imagine it will take me long to read it. I think this will be done next week. We do have homecoming next week, so I know I'm going to be kind of busy. And oh boy, am I going to be busy in November. So I may pull the November book well before October is over, just so I can get a head start on that, because grad school is going to be crazy. But anyway, this is the book I'm reading for nonfiction, to let you know. And yeah, I will probably update you on some stuff that's going on for our trip. But like, you know, I'm going to go clean now so I can feel better. There's Tim, so I can feel better about leaving. Buddy.
So we're back home from the trip. It was really fun. We only went to the actual physical beach like once, but there was other stuff we needed to do. We ended up taking like a 2-hour nap on Saturday. We came back from lunch and got back to the hotel and just like crashed on the bed. Twilight Zone was on. It was like a marathon, and we like fell asleep for 2 hours. Woke up, went to Fort Macon, and looked around all the like historical stuff. They had a lot of it blocked off because they're doing some kind of like Halloween thing, but that wasn't a big deal. We've been before. And then went to Buddy. Nimoy's finally home from grandma's. He's had a good time. And then like went out to eat, and then just took it easy at the hotel. It was really nice. We kind of slowly got ourselves ready today. Went to the aquarium, saw the otters. But I finished 2 books. I finished This Savage Song, and I finished The Mayor Wife. So I didn't actually read a lot of the card deck book. But I do have that much finished. There's that much left. Not much since you've seen it. But this is part 3, so I'm trying to finish that much. Can you see? That much tonight to get to part 3. And then I've got it on audiobook too. Turns out it's on Hoopla. So I've got it as an audiobook as well, but I've got like, oh my God, I've got like 4 audiobooks I'm currently like, I've got Mary I need to finish. I'm like 75 or 80% of that, so I need to knock that one out. I've got The Possession of Alba Diaz started. I downloaded the Frankenstein YA-esque thing that just came out. I'll put a picture up if I think of it. But I saw that in the librarian picks on Libro FM. I was like, I need that. I have checked out something. Oh, the Literally Dead for this month was like available immediately from Libby, and I'm like, well, I'm gonna jump on that because I don't need to try to beat all the other folks in the club for it. But anyway, that's how much I'm reading tonight, that little sliver. And I have it on audiobook, so if I do finish Mary tomorrow, I actually probably will just pick this up on audiobook to help knock it out, because I think if I can get this done, I can pull the card in like 2 weeks. I'm thinking like October 20th or something, and go ahead and pick the book for November and get started on the November book. So I just don't feel like I'm rushing, you know. But I am enjoying the hell out of this book for what it's about, you know. Like it's not a delightful time, but it is informational. And it's very well written. So highly recommend so far. I'll let you know how it goes. The other, there's the 2 places. The other place just has started like hiding the information from the girls. I hate people. Anyway, that's it. That's the update.
If you hear noise in the background, it's because I just got home and fed Nimoy, but I remembered I haven't shown you what I bought at all the bookstores. I mean, it's like 2 seconds for you, but it's the 15th. I bought all these books the first weekend in October, but I haven't shown you the books, so let me show you what I've got. Actually, the very first thing I want to do is show you my pre-orders that have come in. So I had a couple of pre-orders have come in the last few weeks. The first is A Steeping of Blood. This is the sequel to Tempest of Tea. I'm going to have to like look up what Tempest of Tea is about, because it's been about almost 2 years, I think, since I've read it, or it was really beginning of last year. But I am excited about this because I did like the first one. I also got We Love You Bunny, which is the sequel to Bunny. This is a signed edition, I guess, but love it. I don't know if I love this cover as much as my original copy of Bunny, and I am looking forward to reading this, but I think this is going to have to be a winter break read. And then I also got T. Kingfisher's new book in the Sworn Soldier series, What Stalks the Deep. As always, we have cool imagery. I don't like that we've gone away from the dark covers, but I also understand it. The other ones were black and red, white. I hope this isn't the last one, because I really like this series. It's spooky, but it's also funny. T. Kingfisher just does a good job. And I really want to listen to it on audiobook, because the audio is really well done. So that is also probably going to be something I have to pick up, like, maybe next week on my planning day. I don't know. Anyway, those are my pre-orders. The first place we went to was in Emerald Isle. They have like a shopping center it's outdoors, but all the little shopping centers are connected, so you walk around outside and go to the shopping centers. And we went to the bookstore. Steven got him some books. I only got 1 book from there. My goal was to buy 10 books over the weekend for 10 years married. I think I've just came shy of that. I think I'm at like 8. But this is the one I bought from there. It is True Crime Stories of Eastern North Carolina. We're doing kind of a, can you see it? True crime unit with the freshmen, and so I thought that would be kind of neat to have in the future to look at options as far as true crime. I think there is, oh cool, fun little bookmark. Yeah, so it says a book is a present you can open again and again, and it is the Emerald Isle Books and Toys. Oh my god, the lighting, it's because the sun's right there. Anyway, they were really cool. Had a lot of stuff, had a lot of books, a lot of newer releases, a lot of older stuff, so really cool. And this was in like the North Carolina section, but also like you can tell they had curated it for spooky month, so that was fun. The next place we went was one of my favorites. It's Bookmart. I think it's Bookmart. No. Yes. No. Anyway, it's down at Atlantic Beach. There's another shopping center there. They're everywhere. We got some ice cream, walked to the bookstore, and I only got one book from there, but it was a cover of Twelfth Night. I don't have this cover, and Twelfth Night's my favorite Shakespeare play besides like Merchant of Venice. But I thought this was kind of a fun cover where it's like a girl with flower crown and little mustache holding up. It's just another edition of Twelfth Night, and I think it was like $5. So, okay. The next place we went was called, I think it's the Bookshop. And I should know better than this. It's a new and used bookstore in Morehead City. We went there early Saturday morning because the farmers market wasn't open yet in Beaufort. And so the Bookshop is like a, you can get credit. It's kind of like David's, but we've used it since I was little. Like my mom would have books that she would take, get credit, and then we would pick up books, and we would just do that every time we went on a trip down there. And I always forget that I technically could do that. But I think because I only go once a year, it feels weird to do it. But that's where I've gotten my first edition of Diviners from. Sometimes they have really good books. And so I did get a few. This is what I ended up getting. I got most of the, okay, most of the used books are half off the cover price, which is showing its age a little bit when you look at newer books, because if you have been around, you know book prices are going up. And so some of these books are worth more than I think they should be because the books were already worth more than they should be. I got myself another copy of Grendel by John Gardner that I can keep in my classroom because I only had my personal copy. So this is for any student who maybe wants to read Grendel. Yeah, it's the Bookshop, new and used books. And get that perspective of the book. I also got a physical copy of the Penelopiad, I don't know how you pronounce it. Anyway, by Margaret Atwood. I read this over the summer, but we're going to be reading the Odyssey with the freshmen, so that'd be kind of cool to have. And I also found a really cool copy of Queen Hereafter for half off. And I'm going to be looking into this because I've read Lady Macbeth by Ava Reed, but I had not got a chance to read this one yet. And we are currently reading Macbeth with the seniors. So this will be cool. And a kid even asked me, she's like, have you read that one that's about Macbeth and Lady Macbeth and she might be a witch? And I'm like, do you mean Lady Macbeth by Ava Reed? And she's like, yes. It's like I have 3 copies of it. So I'm going to look at this one, see if I like it. Or give me something to read as a lunch book, right? Like I read at lunch. Then the next books were regular price. Again, some of them are not half off the cover price because of like extras they may have. So there was a $10 copy of Some Girls Do, which is relatively new. And it came with a bookmark and a postcard of the characters. So I'm thinking this might have been like, maybe where, you get the kind of merch things to talk about a book. This might have been someone's thing to talk about online or something, but either way, I got all the stuff with it for $10 when the book is like what, 17. I saved a little bit of money, and I got a book that I've been thinking about getting. And I also found a copy of The Reformatory, which I'd started on audiobook last year in like November, and because I think I started it for like the card deck challenge, and I was like, no, I need to read something else, and that's when I read We Deserve Monuments. So excited to read this. I did not have a physical copy. I kept thinking I had one, but I didn't. So that was really neat. And so that's everything I got at the new and used bookstore. Like I said, they usually have like hits. They have very good stuff. And I'm never really disappointed. I actually had to limit myself a little bit because I wanted to they had copies of The House on Mango Street. They had copies of, there's another book we're reading in class, and they had multiple copies of it. And I was like, dang, I need to get those. But I was like, no, I'll ask the school to buy copies. I don't need to keep buying copies of stuff. But they had really good stuff, Big fan. And then the very last place we went to for books, I didn't think we were going to find, I was so excited, was the Friends of the Library trailer. So the library down there has a little red trailer that they have books inside and outside, and they pop up on the Beaufort waterfront on the weekends. Well, back in the day, this was at the actual boardwalk. So we went to the boardwalk at like 10 a.m. and there was nobody really there. And we're like, what the heck is going on? And I'm like, okay, well, maybe they just don't do that anymore. Maybe that's just not a thing. And so we went to see this really cool old cemetery. It was so neat, like very neat. Would absolutely recommend walking through the cemetery. They've got little pamphlets that tell you who's buried where and the stories about them. And it's really neat. But we were like, okay, we'll go to the farmer's market because we saw they had one down here, and it was great. Like, they had food, they had crafts, they had like actual homemade stuff. It wasn't like a lot of the things we associate with crafts and farmers markets nowadays. But we also saw the Friends of the Library trailer, and I was so excited. They take cash only, so no kind of extra stuff, and it's pretty much like paperbacks $1, hardcovers $2, and children's books were 50 cents. So I got 2 books. I thought I was going to get more, but they didn't have a lot of good selections. It's books that aren't selling or aren't going at the library, right? So it's not necessarily new releases, but I did find 2 that I liked. I found the sequel to Bunicula or Buncula, The Celery Stalks at Midnight, which is kind of fun. Some of my high school students remember reading that in middle school too. I was like, oh my God, I'm glad that's still making the rounds. And I found a large print version of Boy, Snow, and Bird, which I've wanted. I don't mind that it's large print. Your girl is slowly going blind. It will not matter. I'm going to keep these away from my books for a while, though, because I think there might be some damage to the books from being outside, or at least near outside. But that is everything I got on my vacation. So, not a bad haul overall. Feeling pretty good about it. I did also finish the book for October, so I'll have to come back and tell you about that because, oh boy,
It's incredibly bright, and I've just got my hair redone, so now feels like an excellent time to give you a recap about Radium Girls. I loved it. I loved it so much it's basically thrown me into a book reading slump. The noises, the dogs. I'm puppy sitting my mom's dog while she's visiting her new granddaughter and my niece in Florida. But anyway, and the other one is Nimoy. He's hanging out too. Anyway, is this like terrifying with my eyes? Anyway, Radium Girls was good. Like, that is the best book I've read this year. And it's not even close. It was 400 something pages. It read like it was 100. I want to take myself back in time to when I hadn't read it and read it for the first time again. And like I said, it's been killing other books for me. We're reading Macbeth right now, so I have been reading technically, and I'm reading journals and textbooks for grad school, but like reading for fun. I'm technically reading a book right now. It's not great, but I'm 70% through it, so I'm getting done with it. And I started the 3rd Sworn Soldier book today, and it's pretty good, but I'll probably finish it tomorrow while I do some cleaning around the house, because it's a Friday. It's a planning day. It was great. I was so productive. Again, got my hair done. And I think either today, like this evening, or tomorrow, I'm going to pull November's card, because November's going to be a shit show. Just respectfully, because like all these final things are done. I've got like a 12-page paper due in one class, and I've got some assignment due in the other class, but the teacher she won't put stuff out so you can see it. Like, she's releasing it 1 week at a time, so I can't even get myself ready for the final until the final gets here, which is a little stressful, I will admit. But I'm trying to make sure I give myself time to do everything. I still haven't even made the video for the second chunk of this challenge. I need to do that at some point. But what you need to know about October's book is it was very, very good. It was a very good pick. So I'm hoping I can have good luck for November too. But I'll see you when it gets time to pull that card. It's day 2 with the new hair, so I haven't washed it yet, and so I'm still not really sure what it's doing. So everybody just forgive me. I do have the bangs back, but they are not going to style well today because that hair is not used to being bangs right now. And they're quite short, but it's because I have glasses, and we realized that she was cutting them, and they were like basically the same as my glasses, and so it was getting bad. Anyway, you don't care to know this. I'm pulling a card today. We're pulling the card for November. So there's not that many cards left in here. Like I've said before, I think it's like 18 left. I think we'll be able to do next year, and then I'll have to just start redoing them. I can't find, I'm pretty sure I've mentioned it already, I can't find the OG cards. Like these are last year's deck because old person. And this is this year's deck. I can't find the first year. Um, it's it's probably fine. I'll find them eventually. But it is currently October 25th. We've got some chores we're gonna do around the house today, and I'm gonna knit. So maybe I can find something that I have, because obviously this is always more beneficial when it's something I have in the room. But it's something I can find on audiobook too and get me out of this reading slump. I did finish 2 books yesterday. I did finish the book I was reading at my mom's house. He Loves Me Not is like the 5th Cambric Creek book. It's fine. It's fine. They all kind of started going downhill after Morning Glory Milking Farm. That's the one to read. And then I finished listening to What Stalks the Deep, which was really good. Not great if you are scared of the idea of caving. It, it was certainly something, but I liked it, and those are short and sweet to the point. I really wish she was able to write those more frequently, because it has the same vibe to me as the Ningvo's books with the oh my gosh, like the priest person, the I can't remember if it'll, you know what I'm talking about. I'm gonna put up a picture of the book, whatever. But like one comes out like every year. It's only like 100 pages and it's really good. That's what these Sworn Soldier books feel like. But my God, T. Kingfisher is so funny. Like parts of the book, she was like, I don't really know. Like the main character was like, I don't really know what makes that more of this than something else. And it reminded me of Charles Dickens, the very beginning of Christmas Carol. If you've never read it, read Christmas Carol, where it talks about Marley was dead as a doornail, and Dickens is like, now I don't really know, that a doornail is the deadest piece of equipment. I think the more dead thing would be like a coffin nail. Like it's the tangents, like that's what it reminds me of. So it's very Dickensian in its humor, where it's kind of silly and sarcastic. I'm off on a tangent. I'm picking a card today. You can't even, the lighting, you can barely see. I'm trying not to look at the things. Which one do I want? All right, I want, my heart goes, there's like 4 here. I want the one behind the first one. I always got to make it complicated for myself. Yeah, not the first one. I want the one behind that one. Oh my God. Come here. Okay. This is hell. I want that one. Okay. I got it. Let me put the other ones down. All right, November's card. Be nice to me. Read a book that is from a new to you author. A new to you author. I mean, there's plenty of those. That's not. I can find that out. I'll figure that out. I might actually have a book or 2 in here that qualifies for that, because I've gotten some new releases and stuff in. I will look into that. I think I've got an idea. I'll get back to you once I have the book. I also really need to organize my shelf over here where I keep the card deck books, because like look at this. I mean, they're beautiful right there, my ladies. But like that's a nightmare. That needs to be reorganized. It's so bad. Anyway, I'm gonna find a book. I'll let you know what I end up choosing. So it's a new to me author for November.
It strikes me that once again I did not update you on my choice of book, but the good news is it is still not November, so I'm still ahead of things. I was doing some looking in some books I've recently got, and I actually figured out that I could do one of the books that I got at our anniversary trip for this. And we're currently reading Macbeth with the seniors, so this one is appropriate. I'm going to be reading Queen Hereafter. I've never read anything by this author before, and it'll be kind of cool to see another version of Lady Macbeth. I've read Lady Macbeth by Ava Reed, so this is a different kind of take on that lore, and I have it on audiobook. So I'm able to read it physically, but I can also listen to an audiobook. Pretty excited about that. But I probably won't start till this weekend. Right now I'm just trying to get through teaching stuff, and I'm going to be out for a couple days, so I'm trying to make sure I've got everything planned in advance so it goes smoothly when I'm not there. So this will be something I probably read on those off days before the chaos of the holiday and the finals approaches. So this is November's book for an author I have not read before, and it's Queen Hereafter.
Happy Halloween. I got to be home today. I'm pretty excited about it. I mean, it's not a good thing. We had a gas leak at the school, and so they cut the gas off so they can figure it out. And I hope they figure it out because, like, I don't want multiple days off, but this was nice. This was a nice treat. You could talk to everybody yesterday, and everybody's just like, I'm done. I need a break. Everybody was needing that break. And so when it was a remote day and also not a day where you had to do a required meeting or turn any kind of plans in, like, you ain't got to tell me twice. So I've been very productive today. I did do some lesson plan stuff, and I did arrange some assignments, so next week is a little bit smoother. And then I've been cleaning in the house. I've emptied some cat litter. I've washed blankets. I've cleaned the carport out because we'll probably have trick-or-treaters tonight. So when Steven gets home, he can just blow the carport out so it's clean. And I'm listening to an audiobook. It's not this one because I'm trying to finish The Possession of Alba Diaz before I start this one, just to get one out of the way. And, but I have read 3 chapters of this, both physically and audiobook, but I think I'm going to need to listen to the audiobook because the name is Gruoch, and I know it's been pronounced in the audiobook, but I can't remember it. She's like Pictish, druid, like, stuff, and so, like, some of the languages, I think is it Scottish Gaelic? I don't... Anyway, there's some language use in here and the way, like, Old English pronounced words that I don't know how to say. I thought that it was called Alba, and I think that's because I've been reading The Possession of Alba Diaz, but ALBA here is not pronounced Alba. So, and the book is narrated by someone with an accent. I don't know if it's a person who always has an accent or if it's someone putting on an accent, but it sounds very good to me, so it's fine. But I do like it. I think it's going to read very quickly. So today, I'm on like 75% of Possession. I'm probably going to finish that then. And so then for cleaning and stuff tomorrow, I can read this on November 1st. And we get to go see Frankenstein tomorrow night. I'm so excited. I'm trying to keep myself from, like, reviews because I'm seeing both positive and negative. I don't think I will be upset because I have to, like, rein in my expectations. I know that it's hard to do a faithful adaptation of Frankenstein. I get that. But I've been hearing it's pretty good. So anyway, I'm still trying to figure out what I'm going to do for Halloween tonight. I don't know if I'm going to dress up like this or I'm just going to wear my Frankenstein sweatshirt and call it a day. We'll see. But that is the update as far as reading goes and the methods I'm using to read this book. Hey Gina, I've got a wedding to go to, so I'm dressed up, but we're going to be in the car for an hour, so I brought Queen Hereafter with me. I finished very little, admittedly, of this book, but was I reading something else? I started the new Angeline Boulet book and Six of Sorrow, and I've got that on my Kindle, but like I've not read a lot of that, but a lot has happened. I'm still not super clear on who all the characters are, and we've just put ourselves in the position where she's gone, like her family is fleeing the king, is King Malcolm, so again a little confused, and she's meeting Macbethed. I'm sure it's pronounced Macbeth. I'm sure the AD is silent. Like I said, the audiobook, everything's pronounced normal. Her mother has died. It's Gruoch. Someone pronounced it. It's like Gorosh. Anyway, I feel bad. I don't know the dialect. So, like, because again, Alba isn't pronounced Alba. I'll listen to the audiobook and I'll get it, I promise. But they've gone up north to be with Macbeth and his family. Macbeth's about her age. They're like 9 or 10. They're not very old. But I can read from the back that she's going to be betrothed to Duncan. So I don't quite know what's going on. I'll let you know. But yeah, we have a wedding, so it's about an hour there and back, and we'll see how far I can get today. Good morning, Gina. Let's throw you around as a camera, I guess. Let's talk about November's book and pull the card for December, shall we? So this is Queen Hereafter. I just finished it yesterday. I've been crocheting a lot. The idea is to make paper chain garland, that looks like this, right? Like it's
paper chain. So I've got all the little doohickeys done. My problem is I'm very inconsistent as far as knitting goes. You can, and all these yarns are similar. This is the first one I did. This is the most recent one. They're supposed to all be 10 stitches across. It's it's gonna be rustic. All right, it's gonna be rustic. I know there's not a lot of B-roll for November, but it's also been not very interesting. I took days off last week to have like a mental reset and to get some homework and stuff done, and I was very successful. I did get a lot done. Um my finals are coming up, so that's a lot. We're not actually hosting Thanksgiving this year. We're gonna meet my family for lunch, which is great because we're probably gonna host like Christmas because my sister will be back in the state. So you already know all this. That's just why I haven't got a lot of B-roll. But this is the book I read for November, which was an author you've never read before. Queen Hereafter is not bad for what it's supposed to be, right? It did take me kind of till the end to realize, oh, this isn't a retelling of just Macbeth. This is setting up Macbeth. This is the story of like everything before. So less like Wicked is before and during Wizard of Oz. This is just the before of Macbeth, because at the very last part she's introduced as Lady Macbeth, because it's based more on the historical Macbeth. For those not in the know, Shakespeare wrote a lot of his plays based on historical information, or previously Jesus existing stories. So Macbeth was one of those. It was actual historical stuff that happened in Scotland. And Gruach is Lady Macbeth. And she basically is a pawn in a lot of people's games up until the very end, and she can kind of like choose her own stuff, but she's a very charismatic individual and she does get the love of the people behind her. I like this take on Lady Macbeth where she's not like this evil manipulative thing. She's ambitious, but like she's in a world where women with ambition are seen as kind of monstrous and evil. So my kids, when we read it most recently, they didn't particularly like the Macbeths in general because like they made bad choices, right? They're being stupid. But they really didn't like Lady Macbeth because like it was all her fault. It's all her fault. I'm like, I mean, she wants more for her and her husband. Maybe the way she's going about it makes it bad, but again, this puts it in perspective of kind of the things she had to deal with and things around her. Again, it's more of a historical story and not like retelling of Macbeth. And it's written by this lady, Isabel, and it was originally a screenplay. And I'm not saying you can tell, but you kind of can. The way some things are described are as if you see a camera panning and it's a direction of what an actor should do and not a story, which is fine. It didn't take me out of it at all. And I do think it worked better for an audiobook because of that. But it was fine. I definitely like Lady Macbeth better, but again, they aren't trying to do the same thing. Lady Macbeth is a retelling of Macbeth. This is a like historical retelling of the history. So there's references to Shakespeare in there and there's references to other things, but like ultimately this is the historical story retelling, which is fine. I think it would be kind of cool to pull from this if I had another, good Lord, AP Lit class, to have this as a book to read alongside Macbeth and talk about like the historical background of things. But it wasn't awful. It was pretty good for November's book. So it's November. Is it the 16th today? I don't have my watch on. So I think it's the 16th. It's Sunday. I'm doing homework. Or I was doing homework, but my mouse won't work. And it has got me unmotivated to work on homework. And I'm pretty caught up on everything. It's just a discussion board I have to do. And then I have to do the finals, which is, I don't want to talk about it. But it is Sunday. I do have to grocery shop at some point today because everybody's out of food, including us. And it's going to be a full week at school. But I'm hoping it's going to be an okay week at school. I've got some meetings and stuff, but other than that, it's fine. And then next week is Thanksgiving. Like, we've got a week and then Thanksgiving week. So the semester's almost over, which is weird. Fall semesters are always really short, but like this has felt very, very short. So that means I need to go ahead and pull for December's card because I have to make sure that I get December's card done and the videos made up. So let's pull for December. I know I said it last time too, but I really do wish I knew what happened to the other cards from the very first year of doing this. I'll find them at some point. I need to clean this room desperately, but like there's nowhere for stuff to go besides throwing it out, and that's not really my cleaning style. But we have these cards. We're going to pull for December. Let's really space them out. All right. Can you even see them? Okay, I'm trying not to look. There's one with a little smudge on it there. I'm going to pull that one. All right. Let me have you. Okay, put these up. All right, last card. We ready? Feels like just yesterday I was pulling January's card. It's a book that is most highly rated on your TBR. So that means I got to go to Goodreads. Is Goodreads the most accurate now? I guess I could probably use Storygraph too, but most highly rated. I've done lowest rated before. Last year I did lowest rated, and it was, oh my gosh, Nothing But Blackened Teeth. So highly rated, let's find out what it is. All right, I've got my computer out because I realized on my phone I wasn't going to be able to search like I wanted to. I figured Goodreads is actually the best place for this because the ultimate goal of this challenge, besides being entertaining as a birthday present, is to read through things I already physically have in my house because I've got such a massive physical TBR. So I can look up to read stuff on Goodreads, but on my phone, but I can't like sort things the way I want to. But also, since it's not as updated, it's a lot more likely that I have TBR stuff that's in this room physically. All right, so I've got my TBR up. I'm not going to do any kind of screen cap, screen record. I don't have time for that. I'll give you a screenshot or something later. We're going to filter it by rating. We want the ratings to be up, not down. Okay, hilariously, the very first one at the top is the sequel to We Shall Be Monsters by Tara Sims. Literally not even out. It's like one person rated it 5 stars. I don't know what this one is, but it's 4.67. I cannot escape 6.7. Everybody pray for middle and high school teachers right now. What is this? The Souls of Cyrus Iblis. It only has 12 ratings. It's posted in 2019. Oh, there's a character named Samantha. I don't own that book. So we're going to keep moving. The next one is part of the Green Mile, where it was like broken down into smaller bits. Coffee on the Mile. I don't have that one. The next one is a combo book by Stephen King. The next one, I don't have that one either. Crooked Kingdom. I'm giving myself actually this kind of rule about it being a physical book. I need to read the highest rated on my TBR. Let me see if Storygraph has something different because I don't know what some of these books are. I don't even remember putting some of these on my TBR if I'm being honest. This is my TBR, right? My want to read. It shows what I freaking know. Let me look on Storygraph for a minute. I haven't updated Storygraph too much either. Everything's behind. Goodreads thinks I've read like 100 books. Storygraph thinks I've read 101. I've read like 120 something. I updated Fable more than anything else. But I don't think I've updated Storygraph's TBR since I like put my, oh my god, Goodreads in there. I can't talk today. I don't want pages, publication. Okay, so you can't filter TBR books on Storygraph by highest rating. So that's still going to have to be something I look for over here. I don't have that Riley Redgate. The Bad Death of Edward Delacroix is also a Green Mile section. Why did I put all the Green Mile things individually in here? Maybe I need to have it by most rated too. Like, because this is... I'm getting a lot that only have like 3 ratings because of the way Goodreads works. I don't think this is one that has a lot either. They really want me to read The Name of the Wind. I do not want to read The Name of the Wind for this. Oh, why are all the good Green Mile things in here? I feel like this is really boring for you. I need to take the Green Mile books out of here. Why aren't they there? Okay, we're getting somewhere. I don't think I own this one. As long as the lemon trees grow, I do remember putting that on my TBR. And the next one is The Winners, which is the third book in the Beartown series. I haven't read Beartown in so long, and I haven't read the sequel. Talisman and Black House I've already read. I mean, not together, but. And then The Reformatory. I have The Reformatory sitting right over there. Like, you can probably, if I lower that, it's like right there. You see it? That's The Reformatory. And I have started it before, and I've meant to read it, and I didn't have it physically last year because I almost read it for the Bram Stoker Award challenge, and instead I read the We Deserve Monuments book for the Sybil Awards. It's kind of looking like Reformatory. Reformatory has a 4.4 rating, but it also has 64,000-ish ratings as opposed to like 12. So, and I've heard plenty of good things. And like I said, I started it. I think I could finish it in time. What do you think? I make the rules. It's my challenge. I'm going to read the Reformatory. I'm reading the Reformatory for December for highest rated on my TBR. I got really excited because I remembered the Reformatory was available on Libby, and then I went to check it out, and it's like a 10-week wait. 10 weeks for the audiobook. So I'm probably going to be reading it physically because it's not on Hoopla. At least for me, it's not. And 10 weeks, oof, maybe we'll get lucky and people read it really fast, but like, damn. Oh well. But I can read it physically. It's not a problem. It just would have been really nice to be able to listen to it on audiobook too.
Happy Thanksgiving, Gina. I'm reading the Reformatory. I'm trying to stay off of TikTok because the Stranger Things new season just dropped. I don't want to make sure I have time to rewatch it. I don't know. Maybe I won't rewatch it. Anyway, we're talking about the Reformatory. So this is actually probably the latest I've finished a book for the card deck challenge because it's going to be December on Monday. Which doesn't this is December's book and it's not even December yet, but normally I finish December's book like by Thanksgiving so I can get the videos edited and have everything ready. But this one's taken me a while. This far through. I've been mostly listening on Spotify. Yesterday, as I was like cleaning and getting ready for stuff, I was listening. But then I've been reading it this morning while I watch the parade and kind of get ready. We've got a weird day today. At 11, I have to put in the turkey for me and my mom tonight. Then at noon, we're going to go meet family in town and eat. Stephen's going to go eat with his family in the evening, and my mom's coming over because she has to work today. So it's a little bit crazy and back and forth. And it's going to be a busy rest of the week too. We have a hockey game tomorrow. Saturday I'm going out with mom. We might finally see Wicked. And then Sunday we have church and we're going to get a Christmas tree, all that. Anyway, you don't care about that. You care about this. This has been very good. I had started it like last year on audiobook and I'd only got a couple of chapters in, so I knew kind of what was going on. And the basic gist is a young boy named Robbie is sent to this reformatory because he kicks a white boy, but the white boy was making advances on his sister, so he just kind of like reacted. And it's told basically two things are happening at once. It's Robbie's experience at the reformatory and his sister Gloria trying to like get him help and get him out of there because he only has to be there 6 months, but it's haunted, like haunted by boys who have died there previously, by other things. It's very ominous, and both of these children have sort of a very thin veil between them and the unknown. It's like Gloria can kind of see people's futures, not like in a make predictions way, but she kind of feels it when she meets them, and she can kind of sense things. They're just a little bit more close to it than normal people might be. And so we're almost halfway. And right now Robbie he's been sent to what's called the fun house. He got, well, hi Pepper, come here.
Come here, Pep. Why? Pepper, that is your butt. That is your butt. No one wants to see that. Okay, anyway. Pep, I swear to God. Okay, anyway. Robbie has been whipped and he's gone back to work. And the last time I saw Robbie in the story, he was playing the trumpet and he was going to be joining the marching band. Pepper, this is not about you. And Gloria's trying to find a lawyer. Anyway, I'll get back to you when I read more. Pepper, I swear to God, it's just your asshole in the camera. What is wrong with you? Good morning. Devastating news for fans of the Christmas tree last year, which includes me. I turned it on yesterday and the bulbs got immediately like boiling hot. Mind you, this tree is 10 years old this year. So I think it's unfortunately time to retire it. I'm thinking I'm gonna put it back in the back bedroom and switch it with the larger tree that's back there now. I've just gotta like shake and vacuum that one off. That one drops needles like crazy, which I don't know why. It's a very high quality tree, so it's kind of weird that it sheds like it does. Which is, it's both a blessing and a curse. The other tree is skinnier than this one, and I have had it in here before. Like the first year I got it, it was in here. But it doesn't necessarily have that vintage vibe that this one does. But I'll be okay. I've put up all my other lights. Timothy, come here. I put up all my other lights and stuff, but there's still decorations to put out. Obviously, I haven't put any of the ornaments on this tree because reasons. Today, we have a hockey game at 5. So at 2 o'clock, we're going to go with our friends and carpool there. The gates open at 3:30, and we'll just kind of take it easy. I'm excited. It's the first time I've gotten to go to the boy aquarium this year. And I was looking for the reformatory to give you an update on where I am. I can't find it. Mind you, there's like boxes of Christmas decorations everywhere, so it's probably just under something. But I've been listening to it on audiobook, and I'm about 65 to 70% through with it. I entered like a flow state yesterday, putting up Christmas decorations where it was just like rolling through it, and it's very, very good. I did not necessarily expect the sort of like halfway through reveal that Robert was going to be asked to be a haint hunter and like hunt the ghosts. And so now he's kind of trying to protect the ghosts because they just want someone to know what happened to them. Especially one of the ghosts is like, no, you need to help us. But his sister is still trying to help him escape, and they've like cracked an escape plan up, and it's very dramatic. I have a bad feeling. I have multiple bad feelings about how this is gonna end, but I will see. So the plan for today, I was actually gonna do Legos over this Thanksgiving break. Let's all take a minute to laugh at that. I have to finish decorating a little bit more because my dining room table is atrocious right now. It's covered with all my like plushes. I need to swap these trees respectfully. And I think that's about it. I'd like to get the stuff done for my windows. My goal this year is to put lights around my windows and candles, but I have to buy lights first. So I'm gonna see if anyone has a deal on like regular lights. I don't need LED lights for the windows. They're not gonna be on all night. But we'll see what I can find. I'm gonna try not to spend any extra money today. I might buy me something at like the shop for the canes because I tend to buy myself something there. But even then, I don't want to spend a lot of money. I'm going out with my mom tomorrow to some small shops, and so I'll probably buy more Christmas decorations there. But if I can just get some of these decorations up and put away. Why are we fighting? Why are we fighting? Stop fighting. It's Christmas. Well, it's not Christmas yet, but it's close enough. Anyway, I'll probably finish the reformatory, if not today, like first thing tomorrow, and then I'll be done with the challenge. But yeah, pour one out. Not this. I'm keeping this. Pour one out for the 10-year-old Christmas tree. She has served us well. Quit eating it. Ludi, no. Ludi, no. That's how your brother cracked his teeth. Good morning. Nimoy's here. He, I think, senses that I'm not staying. And so he's being very, very affectionate little boy, trying to keep his mama at home. But I am going to church with Steven today. They're doing a hanging of the greens, but also after church, we can just go pick up our tree. Yeah, you like Christmas trees? You'll be excited we're getting a Christmas tree. He just likes to be able to go. He just said he can't go. I got nothing read yesterday. I fully intended to, but I was... Okay. Personal space doesn't exist in this house. It truly doesn't. Come here. Sit. Yeah, just sit. He's so handsome. It's hard to be mad. It was kind of a weird trip. My mom's car was so cold. She doesn't have a heat in her car that I had to have my electric blanket with me, and I could see my breath when we left yesterday morning. I found a decent amount of things. I think I've got all my Christmas stuff, like list of people I was shopping for, done. But we were with family, so it was a little slow going. It wasn't as fast as I would have liked it to be. So we got home really late. We were going to go see Wicked, and we're like, I gotta go to bed. I wrapped a few presents. That's about it. I did not read anything. Mainly because, I didn't want to finish the book in the arena I was in. I am the most liberal person when hanging out with my mother's side of the family. So just, that was fun. They were pretty well behaved, but still, you're not being very well behaved right now. Yeah, you're not. His life is so hard. Oh no. Oh no. Oh, Mr. Heart Murmur. I'm telling him about your heart murmur. It's not a HIPAA violation. It's not. Anyway, I'm probably going to finish today. Because I've got some decorating I want to do when we get back, especially if we get the tree in and can get it trimmed up and put in the house. I can put lights on it, and then I'll just audiobook the last 20% of the book. And then we'll be done. Again, this is the latest I think I've finished the card deck challenge because it's going to be a time crunch getting the videos done now. But that's okay because I'm also done with my finals. I just have to proofread and send them. So, it got done. It got done. All right, let me go OUT with this boy and then go to church. Hey, bestie, guess what I finished? I actually finished it yesterday, but I finished it kind of late, and I was like, I don't want to recap it. I want to sit with it and think about it for a little bit. Also, this is a sneak preview at the room this year. I did a little something different with the tree. I haven't done these candles in 2 years, and I thought the vibes were too good to mess it up with a bunch of flashy, tacky lights. I can plug it in, right? I guess that doesn't look bad, but my idea was very, oh my God, I can't do this one-handed. Very Victorian era, classic Christmas. I have some, velvet ribbon. I may tie some bows in here somewhere, and I've got a bunch of ornaments I can put on, the actual main tree this year. Anyway, I also put lights up last night. It looks really nice in here, but let's talk about the card deck, because I did finish December's book, The Reformatory. I really liked this. Thank you, Lord, this had a happy ending. It very easily could have had a very different ending. And while I was reading it, I thought of a comparison of a book I've read, and not in a bad way, this is just like this other book, but in a good way, oh, this reminds me of this, and I cannot now for the life of me remember what the book was. I want to say it was a Stephen King book. And, it's not, Firestarter, but it kind of also
gives Firestarter, but there's also something about like the warden being like secretly this awful person that's got some elements to like a S.A. Cosby book that I've read recently. Oh gosh, that's gonna bother me. If I think about it, I'll like insert something here, but I really don't think I'm gonna think about it. But it was really good, and thank God it was a positive ending. Well, not positive. I mean, it was as positive as it was gonna be considering the subject matter. That's Tim. Hey, Timothy. Considering the subject matter, like it definitely had a more positive leaning ending than it could have. Pacing wise, this did not feel like this chunky of a book, especially when I was mixing this and the audiobook. Audiobook was fantastically narrated. Highly recommend. The actress did a great job of all the different characters and making them very differentiated. And like I said, pacing wise, you get about halfway through before like they bury the lead about the haint hunting stuff. And then, oh man, it's gonna bother me. What does it remind me of? Oh, that pisses me off. That's gonna bother me. Anyway, it's really good. I don't really have anything I can compare it to, but it is very good, very heartbreaking and sad. Because again, it's based on some real things that happened and boys that did not make it out. Like, you know, spoiler alert, some of these boys do or do not. Tim, what are your thoughts? Okay, those are his thoughts. So that means I'm done with the challenge. We're done with the challenge. I think what I'll do is tomorrow I'll come in here when it's actually daylight and it's not like 6 p.m. and I'll do a final thoughts on the 12 books for, or I guess 13 technically, the 13 books for this year, and that is a wrap on the Gina card deck challenge. Crazy. Okay, so it's December 14th. I just met my niece. It was really fun. And I've been trying to go through these books to make sure I put the right tags with the right book. I may have messed some of them up, but you know what I'm not going to do? I'm not going to go back and watch any of the videos to tell me if I'm right or wrong. So Tim, why is it every time I've got this tripod out, you have to be involved? He likes the new chair a lot. Anyway, let's look at what I read for year. Is this the third year or the fourth year? I can't do math today. You can't expect me to do math today. Anyway, let's talk about the first books I read. The first card was read a book that has been on your TBR the longest. And for that, I kind of had to go through a really weird TBR because, like I said, I was in Goodreads just putting stuff in there. But Wind in the Willows was one that I had. This was fine. I don't even really remember a lot about it. That's how fine and average it was. But there was snow for that one. So the next one also had snow. The next one was read a book with the main character or a character's named Samantha. And I read Palomino by Danielle Steele. That's a goofy book, Palomino. I believe the next one was read a book that is like you've really been anticipating. Book you've been anticipating. Correct me if I'm wrong. And that was Under the Same Stars by Libba Bray. This also could be for author you've loved before. That's the reason I'm getting confused, because the very next one, it was either this one or the author you've loved before, which was The Buffalo Hunter Hunter. And I just threw a card out. The Buffalo Hunter Hunter. So these were, like, you're going to have to correct me because you've seen the videos more recently than I have. But either way, I love both of these books. And I have the fancy copy of the book now. Tim is preventing me from getting the other books. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the next one was read a book that is available now on Libby. And that was it was written by a man. Remember, because of the cliffhanger. The next one was May, written by a man. And I read Frankenstein in Baghdad. After that, it was... No, it wasn't that one. It was, that one was available now on Libby. Death at Morning House. Okay, and this was also fine. And then it was read a book that is basically smut. And I read Two for Tea or Tea for Two, whatever that book in the Cambric Creek series is. And again, fine. Not my favorite in the series, but also not my least favorite. So... The next one was the book you most recently got and I had just gotten, Killer on the Road
The Babysitter Lives, so I've read that one for August. September was the one where I had to choose a book that was under 250 pages, and that was Fire Exit, which is, again, literary fiction. Fine, not going to be everybody's favorite. The next one was read a nonfiction, and I chose Radium Girls, which is probably my favorite book of the year. Then the next card said to read a book that is from a new to you author, so I chose Queen Hereafter, which is a historical retelling of Lady Macbeth. It's fine. I did not mind it. And the last book of the year is read a book that is the most highly rated on your TBR, and after much deliberation and elimination, I read The Reformatory by Tanner Reeve Dew, and it is very, very good. It's high up there in my top 10 for this year. So that is all the books that I read for the challenge this year. It's a chunky set. There they are. Okay. They were all good in their own way. I don't think any of these were particularly bad. Not like, thrilled with the first read of the year, but it also was a book that I hadn't read before that now I can say I've read. So I'm going to go finish editing the video. I'm going to find somewhere for these books to live. I'm going to take a picture of them first and then find somewhere for these books to live. And then we'll just wait around until next year starts. Bye. Happy birthday, Gina.